The one with the tea leaves is the 17th episode of the 8th season of Friends. This is directed by Gary Halvorson, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it's a great episode of Friends with a lot of small moments that I really love. So I will go through the 3 parts of the narrative in turn. I'll talk about Ross first of all, and then Phoebe, and then I guess Rachel and Joey. None of it's overly interesting, but we do have some, as I said, small moments here and there that I absolutely love. Ross has lost his salmon shirt, his pink shirt. He realises he left it at Mona's. So he goes to Mona's and gets the shirt just as Mona is coming in with a date. And it's an awkward moment. And of course, Mona sees him and she thinks that he's gone there to try and get back with her, which I guess is less embarrassing than saying he made all of that effort to get his favourite pink shirt. And it's not a bad part of the narrative. I think it helps us to wrap things up with Mona, as things would otherwise have been left just a little bit hanging. So I think it was a nice idea to include this, but with a lot of comedy. So I quite like that part of it. Then we come to Phoebe. Phoebe is reading tea leaves, and her leaves say that she's going to meet a guy. And initially she thinks it's a guy called Jim Nelson. And he's played by James Gros, and it seems really great. What's the problem? They're attracted to each other. The tea leaves were obviously onto a good thing. And then she goes on a date with him. And he's not Phoebe's kind of person, let's put it that way. He's very awkward and very funny, but in real life it would be horrendous. So that doesn't work out. And then we get one of my favourite scenes in the episode, not in of all time, but Phoebe and Monica go to the dry cleaners, where Monica gets to watch the dance of the clean shirts. She says it's like Disneyland for her, or Disney World. And Phoebe meets Alec Baldwin. He's playing a character called Parker, and it was a really nice encounter. And what I love about this is it's kind of saying, at least this is my reading of it, when the universe, if you were a believer of the universe giving you signs, whether it's through tea leaves or in dreams, if you're aware that something is going to happen, you might be looking for it. Phoebe was looking for a guy, so she thought she'd found the guy. But actually, the universe had other plans for her. And if you stop looking, it will come to you. Obviously, if you make the effort in certain cases. But when it comes to people meeting, if you try and you're trying to focus on the wrong person, you might miss out on what the universe actually has planned. Obviously, not everybody's going to believe that, but that's my reading of it, and I rather liked it a lot. And we got a nice amount of comedy there as well. Most of the comedy for this, though, came from, I have to say, from Chandler. Most of my favourite moments. Rachel starts off the episode actually looking for Joey because they haven't talked since the restaurant, which I thought was a nice way to kind of catch us up with where they are. And Joey was over at Monica and Chandler's, and he dropped his bagel and fled. He went into the other room to hide, and the bagel was on the floor because Chandler and Monica were playing the naked bagel game, which sounds disgusting. I'm not a big fan of bagels in general. I don't mind them when they're hot with butter. A chive bagel with butter is very nice, but in general I find them to be very dry and not that delightful anyway. And Rachel is panicking, so she asks Chandler for what to do. She asks him about what she should do, and Chandler says one of my all-time favourite Friends quotes, "I'm not great at advice. Can I interest you in a sarcastic comment?" I love it. Absolutely love it. And he suggests finding something Joey can help with. So Rachel thinks, okay, this could really work. It's a problem with work. It's a problem with my boss. My boss wants to buy my baby. And Joey is a little bit more of a quick thinker here. He said that when she said she had a problem with her boss, he thought it was about maternity leave or something, which, yeah, would have been a much more believable problem. What I love about this, that statement itself, my boss wants to buy my baby, in the episode, very funny. I don't think anybody would have seen that coming. But then we cut to Joey, and all we hear is Joey saying, "You think you can just buy my friend's baby?" Now, first of all, I don't agree with talking with your friend's boss without asking them or telling them, but the fact that he was willing to do this and to confront her boss is so sweet. And Rachel ends up having a meeting, and it's very much confirmed that he didn't want to buy the baby. I like the fact that he didn't automatically go that Rachel was lying about this, and that he just assumed he'd maybe said something that had given her the wrong impression. Maybe he believed that, or maybe it was legally just the best approach to take. I don't know, but I think everything worked out really well there for Rachel, and for Rachel and Joey, because now things are a little bit less awkward, and I think that was definitely the right approach. If they dragged it out for too long, if we had awkward scenes with Rachel and Joey, it basically would have been Rachel and Ross all over again. There are many episodes where Ross and Rachel just could not be in the same room together, usually because of Rachel. Usually Rachel was the one refusing to be in the same room, but not always. And it just would have been that all over again. So I think the pacing there of that part of the narrative worked really well. And another Chandler moment I loved is when Chandler was singing the Annie soundtrack, because I had a lot of fun with it. So I think it's a really great episode. Personal highlights would be, I guess, wrapping up the story with Mona. I think that was very well done. Several moments with Joey and Rachel and just that whole story. Multiple occasions with Chandler. And Phoebe meeting Parker as well was a nice moment. So no complaints from me at all. The narratives themselves are well handled, but we have a lot of really funny quotes, really funny moments. The one with the tea leaves is obviously a really brilliant episode of Friends, and I'm sure it's an episode I'll always really thoroughly enjoy.